Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
There's a fat wind broadcasting on Sky. Nobody wants him there. Everybody just ask why. Oh, give us some more Annie, give us some more Annie, and less of that KB guy.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Good morning. It is day 4 of the first test against New Zealand, the beginning of the English summer. It's been a really crazy topsy-turvy test, and I'm surprised actually we got into day 4. If they play, there won't be much of day 4, it has to be said. But it's been an intriguing test match. Kiwis bowled for 132, England bowled for 140, which was criminal in my eyes. Then we let the Kiwis get away to a lead, and it looked like they were going to pile on shed loads, and then a wicket with 3 overs yesterday. An over with 3 wickets. See, I've been here talking for 4. This is my 4th down a trot. Words are getting jumbled. England managed to get themselves back in with a target 277, some 4 wickets for Jameson, but Root is still there, and he's backed by Folkes. And this is probably England's last chance. They've got to get pretty much all the way there with these 2, one would have thought. A couple of lusty blows from Broad, and maybe the lower order might get across the line. But Root will be the key. And I am joined this morning by, we gave her a jingle to come in, it's Annie Chave, back from Lords on day 2, meeting up with Dave Brooke, which in itself is an experience. And Messi Jez, good morning to you both.
Good morning, Bear. How nice to have you both with me today. It's been a bloody fantastic test match. It's so refreshing after the sort of rush and thrust of IPL to get back into this sort of real cricket.
Where's your
Excuse me,
allegiance, Messi?
Well, as ever, I like to see England lose, and I do like the Kiwis, but I don't feel like I've got skin in the game. My allegiance is really to Test cricket on this one.
Yep,
I
me
just
too.
think it's been a fantastic advert for Test cricket.
Yeah, but I have to say that, I mean, I went on day 2, and there was a point on day 1 I was thinking, am I actually going to see any cricket? And it has, it certainly slowed down at some point. I think, like Bear said, Root is definitely the key. He batted really well yesterday, like a captain almost, in fact.
Well, he's been released.
Yeah.
And the captain
Absolutely.
batted completely skittishly and crazy. And actually, we got away with it when Colin de Grandon bowled that no ball. I mean, that probably would have been the test. But I'd say now, both sides are going to take it hard if they lose, because, you know, the Kiwis would have thought at some point yesterday, we can get a big lead here. And then 277, you know, in England with those bowlers, you probably think you can probably get England out. And they got them into a position where they could have pushed on. England, the flip side was, oh fuck, we were useless, and then suddenly they've stuck a couple of partnerships together, and our star batsman is in there and looking to finish the game. And if it gets taken away from us now with 61 runs, you know, if we fall 10 runs short or something, that's painful to take, you know. And if
It's anyone's game.
Yeah, it is.
Still, absolutely anyone's game, and this is just why it is such a wonderful Test match. I mean, it's a shame it's not going to elongate into the 5th day, but I think, you know, it's been so roller coaster, and I love matches like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what Test cricket is all about. With a team.
I have a really important question for you, Bear.
Yeah.
Have you gone under?
No, I haven't. I'm not going to bet this morning. I'm going to hold off. Well, Root sprinted out.
That's an unusual thing to hear.
But we weren't sure whether they were going to start on time. I was driving over, and it's basically mizzle. It's kind of like very heavy, misty air. And I'm only in South London, not far from Lords. But they are going to start on time. They've had the heavy roller on. By all accounts, Jameson was being into this morning, and Root was saying that the pitch is, or Bairstow was saying that the pitch is just really slow. We've got 15 overs with the old ball, which could be key.
Yeah, but the bowlers have had a rest overnight. You know, they'll be a bit more speedy and with it to start with. But yeah, that's a very grey-looking sky.
It is indeed, and it's always hard. And the batsmen have always got to get back in the next day. I mean, if they had carried on for an hour last night, you think that Root probably would have taken us over the line. But he's got to come in. He's got to reset, and Ben Folkes has too. And Ben Folkes hasn't been scoring a lot of runs recently. Looks pretty organised.
He hasn't inspired with the bat, has he? Really?
No, he hasn't. But he's organised. He's not scared. You know, he plays shots. I don't mind. He's not Butler, but you know,
Nobody's Butler.
Nobody's Butler.
Don't let's go there.
Yeah, let's have some jingles for the people out there. This man is going to face the first ball.
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pict, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
There's Joe Root, actually, and this guy's bowling.
It's only a whimsical notion to fly with Tim Southey to tonight. I probably won't fly with Tim Southey. And again, I'm just mine.
And last batsman out there is this guy.
Oh, he's better than just Butler, and his name's Ben Folkes. Oh, he can keep wicket at least 9 times as well. Ben Folkes, you're the best.
Well, Root exactly carries on from where he was last night. Oh, and nearly sells Ben Folkes down the river on the first ball of the game. He takes a little step down the track, works it off his pads down to long leg. Wanted to come back for 2, thought it might go for 4. In the end, had to turn Folkes back. The fielder did get there. It's probably the better part of valour. That was a nice shot. That was a good movement on the first ball of the day. I thought he'd have just watched it past or dead batted it out to the covers. And this will be the test Ben Folkes is going to face. And the lead is England now require 60. There is no GPL today, obviously.
And Lords is looking a little bit emptier. than it has been.
Well, yeah. Street party day, innit? Fucking
God, is
Jubilee.
it?
God, this fucking Jubilee just goes on and on.
Hangover day.
Southey in to Folks, who plays it out to mid-wicket. And
Did anyone watch the gig last night with Duran?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was just horrible.
I didn't watch it. So.
The problem with something like that, when you watch it on the telly, it's just so big, and seeing it on the telly, it just, you know, the volume's not loud enough, and you haven't got the atmosphere. It just looks really quite dull. They kept panning to the royal family, and they looked bored as shit. It was hilarious. Just really sad faces staring out. It's just like, oh my god.
I was watching the T20 Blast myself.
I watched a little bit before I left here yesterday. Southey in to Folks even. And he clips that sweetly out through mid-wicket. And there are 3 players there. There's a deeper square leg, there's a mid-wicket and a wideish mid-off. He beat all 3. It was a great shot. Threaded it through the middle, gets himself 2 runs. And
definitely looks like they're trying to go for it early on. You know,
presumably
they're their shots, aren't
they've had at least
Yeah.
half an hour in the net somewhere before they've come out.
they? You'd hope so.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? It's not like a Sunday league game where you just go out there having had 3 throwdowns and some dude at the end.
And 20 pints the night before.
Well,
There's the voice of experience.
Southey coming in, 4th ball of the over, bowling to Folks, who defends comfortably enough out to the covers, and there is no run. So you saw basically New Zealand piling on the runs in the afternoon when you went on day 2.
Well, I did, except I bumped into David Brooke and did this video, and then
Was that at lunchtime?
This was just before tea. And then spent about half an hour waiting for David to come back, and then missing him.
Him being crazy somewhere. Southey bowls a little bit shorter, and Folks is stoutly in defence on the crease, raising the bat, and there is no run. 1 ball to come in the first over of the morning. 3 runs scored off it. Target's come down into the 50s. Trent Bolt is warming up. He's going to open up at the other end. Would you not be tempted to open up with Jameson? He's the one who's caused most of the trouble. You haven't got a lot to play with.
Jameson's been the key bowler. But
Although the conditions would make you think that Bolt could get a lot of swing in this.
Yeah, it's very true. Last ball of the over is defended back down the track, and there's no run. But the pitch is so slow, you wouldn't expect it to trouble Root too much, as long as he can get his eye back in. Of course, he's only 22 runs away from 10,000 test runs.
Yeah.
This is Joe Root's highest ever 4th innings score, by the way. Warren says, morning all, I'm expecting some relaxing ASMR while snoozing. It's very early over there in New York. Josie Oak says, predictably, we're doomed. Mog says, oh shit, this shit is getting real. Yo, also, hello, is the Queen dead yet?
No, but she may be soon.
Leah says, hello everyone, stuffing up this chase will be peak England. Roger Melly says, hello, good evening and bollocks. You might find that Colin de Grandhomme will have difficulty bowling or even walking straight after his teammates got finished with him last night.
Yeah, totally. Well, apparently it's bruised or something here.
Yeah, he's out for the rest, isn't he? Because of calf injury.
Yeah.
Is it a calf injury?
Mm.
Okay.
Calf? I thought it was ankle.
I thought it was
Oh,
heel.
isn't that the same thing? Sorry. Okay. I'm not very good with my anatomy.
No, that's the heel at the bottom of the foot. Calf is the muscle on the back. This man is going to bowl from the other end.
Dear.
How does he speak, or play the horn, or clean his teeth, or even yawn? How does he shout? How does he call? Trent Bolt's mouth is really small.
And he starts off around the wicket to Joe Root. Now, I thought this was a crazy ploy, and then he bowled Johnny Bairstow. Yeah, but that's Johnny Bairstow.
You don't need a big mouth, do you, to bowl fast?
No.
No.
And he does fair well. I mean, these, the stat came out at the beginning of this test that the opening bowling partnerships of these 2 teams are 300 wickets better than the next best test match opening partnerships of bowlers ever in a test match.
Oh my God, what stat that is.
I know. as that's left lane through the keeper. Well, the opening bowling partnerships in this Test match have 1,800 Test wickets before them. And interestingly, the next best one was when Pakistan played the West Indies. Kirtley, Courtney, Wasim and Wacker only had 1,500 Test wickets between them.
Yeah, but they were really rubbish, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, they were really fucking good, which makes you think. That's
Speaking of really rubbish, do you know how Bairstow got bowled in both innings of this Test match?
That's Bairstow. On the back foot, Root defends out to the covers and there's no run.
Well, he's the only player to have done it more than twice at Lords. He's actually been bowled in both innings 4 times at Lords.
He gets bowled an awful lot. And really...
Yeah,
he doesn't really know where his stumps are, does
he just plays
he just plays onto them, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Test batsmen shouldn't be getting bowled. And interestingly, this was a knackle stat that came up in my mail this morning. He's still tweeting out those stats. And occasionally I get one. Bolt comes in, and that's nicely driven by Root, who's hit it out towards the boundary. He wants to come back for 2. He'll get there comfortably. If Root gets to his 100 today, gets to 10,000 runs, he will be the 10th person on the list in terms of matches. 218 matches it would have taken him to get to 10,000 runs. But the first by years, by about 4 years. It would have taken him less than 10 years, 9 years. It would have taken him 9 years and something like that. And the next best is like 13 years and something.
It just shows how many tests they play.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's it, isn't it? That's how much cricket now is played compared to when those guys were doing it. And some of them are not that far. I think Brian Lara was the quickest, as that's defended out to backward point and there's no run. Did it something like 190 matches or something. He was class, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, but so's Root.
Yeah, Root is class. And hopefully freed from captaincy and all the woes that brings, and just being able to concentrate on himself and batting. Another spectacular year would be great. Bolt in, and Root plays that down towards third man now. He might, the outfield is slowed. Probably it would have had moisture on it overnight. They ran a rope around it before play started. Presumably it's still sort of mizzle. And it will be a single. Cheers. 2.
Varong says, greetings from Airport. I now have electricity. It points out that England have got 180 overs to get 53 runs.
Yes, that's true. Time is not an issue.
No, but you'd have thought it was with Stokes' innings yesterday, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, his latter part of his innings, obviously.
Now I do have a question for Pokey Bumfinger. Are you still able to moderate today? Me making you a moderator yesterday, I don't have to do it every day, do I? Just answer yes or no in the chat on YouTube.
He's not in the. Oh, he is in the chat. He's just arrived.
He's just arrived.
Yeah.
We've been being attacked by porn bots on YouTube.
that has all sorts. The visuals for that are quite something.
Yeah. Attack of the porn box. There's a movie there somewhere.
Surely there must be worse things to be attacked by. We've got our wish. Jameson is coming on.
Oh dear, Bear being attacked by porn bots. Love it.
Right, let's give him a jingle.
And that's the story of how Kyle Jameson became a man.
His first ball is into the hip of folks. Turns it quite nicely, but straight at short mid-wicket. Ain't no run.
O'Neill Harris says hello. Taiping Shao says the tie is in play. And Silvery Breams, Chris says happily nestled on the sofa listening in. Trying to ignore wife's hints about watching Village Jubilee Parade in the bloody rain.
How's she hinting? Has she got red, white and blue on or something?
Don't want to go and do that, Jesus. Jameson comes in for the second ball. And that's nicely driven by folks. Good half stop by Southey at mid-on. It was racing towards the mid-on boundary. Chased home by Kane Williamson. On feels that there's going to be England aren't going to coast here, are they? I mean, it may look it for a while, and then something will happen. And
What's the new ball looms, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
I'm assuming they want to get the runs quickly, so that they take that out of the equation.
well, yeah, I mean, a new ball's due in 15 overs, and they've only got to get 61 runs. So, I mean, you know, if they go at 3 and over, they're going to have to get 10 runs with a new ball. That's quite easily swiped and edged over the slips, isn't it, really, with a new ball? I mean, Matt Parkinson got 10 in the first innings, and he got himself a wicket. There's half a peel there by Jameson, and Folkes is going to come back for 2, and he makes it. That's good running. I think he was leg by. But
They're
it's
definitely
too
on
high.
the charge.
Yeah,
wanna
they
get
are.
these
Well,
runs.
they probably have had that discussion. They've said, well, let's try and get these before the new ball comes along.
Yeah.
And if the pitch is slow, you know, it gives you time to adjust and work the singles. You're not looking for necessarily for the big shots. You're just trying to find the
No.
gaps.
Matt Parkinson, what's your thoughts on him so far?
Well, there's a lot of caveats
time.
aren't there in the fact that he was just, you know, basically pulled out of a Barbie on Friday or whatever, Thursday, and thrust into a test match.
Pulled out of a Barbie.
Yeah, well, apparently he was having a Barbie up north, and then they said, "You're right, you got to get down to Lord's." For me, he doesn't look it. On the back foot, nicely pushed by Folkes, but can't beat cover again, and there's no run. Too slow through the air. I think he
He
does.
wasn't. I mean, let's face it. That people have been talking about the fact he's too slow, but everybody knew he was slow.
Yes, but
He was a slow bowler.
that's the thing. I think that's why they've been reluctant to put him in the first place.
Yeah.
But everyone's clamoured for it. So he's got his chance. And when you look at him, you go, he's got a good stock ball that's a little slow. When he first came on, I thought that first spell, he started off first 2 or 3 overs. It was okay. There were a couple of bad balls. Jameson is in, and it's defended by Folkes, and there's no run. Then he tried. Then towards the end of that spell, he seems to be trying too much and was bowling too many short balls and filthy full tosses and stuff. Then he got to come back on again, and he kind of put that away. And there was a period because it was getting towards the end of the day. He was just bowling the stop ball, and I thought it was, you know, it was good that he got that wicket yesterday, and you could see that happening. I mean, that's the one thing you can say about a leg spinner, even probably quite an average one at Test level, is someone like Saudi. You've always got a good chance of getting him out because his eyes will light up and he gives it a bit, and he gives it some air. So, but do you want him in the side just to bowl out 10 and 11? I don't know. It's that left alone through to the keeper and there's no run. But
I mean, yeah, he is a slow bowler, and the trajectory, because he is short, is and his arm comes down across low, doesn't it? So he is. He's giving a little bit of a different option than we have. Anyway, look, Messi, you probably need to do some
Yes,
tweets.
hush up the pair of you. Brian 001's back in the real world. It says, morning from rainy Northampton. Surely England can't stuff up this win.
yeah, what are you
A
on
short
about?
visit to Europe, wasn't it, Brian? Paul Marshall says, hopefully Root gets his eye back in or we're doomed. Tony Bishop, isn't the calf the same as the ankle? I'm not very good with anatomy, doctor. Dr. Annie Chase.
Yeah, it's lucky I'm not a doctor. I
It
think.
goes, the heel's at the bottom, then you've got the ankle that connects the heel to the calf.
Warren says, who was the lead singer of Queen last night? I mean, it was Liz second. By the way, can't be Queen without Freddie Mercury.
No, they have it's Queen with, and I can't remember what his name is. It's the standard one. They've kept the ball again. So something like that.
He's actually really good. Remember the old song, Annie? The heel bone's connected to the thigh bone.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's where I grew up with my anatomy, but I just a bit forgetful as well.
Bolt's coming
fair
back in, and Root has pulled that nicely in front of square. They'll get back for 2. There's a little bit of a misfield out there. It's a good bit of fielding by Ajaz Patel. He had to come. It was hit hard by Root, well in front of square.
Well slid along, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and he had to get around from just backwards of square, or just forward of square. But it's a good 15 metres, and the ball's travelling. The light is very dark. I mean, everything's kind of in New Zealand's favour, except for panic. England have been going along quite nicely, and they only need 48 more to win now. Root plays that sweetly out towards deep point. He'll get himself a single.
He just looks very assured still, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem. That I mean, England found it the ball did get really soft and really easy to play at the end of when England, before they got the new ball towards the end of the day, and they've got 12 overs of this. It's a long way to go, and England really can, get within.
They need to stop
distance.
the boundaries, really, don't they?
I think they need to. Well, they need to, England,
Get wickets.
well, they do, because if England only need to go on at about 4 and over, and they're there before the new ball, and they're doing that quite comfortably at the moment. I mean, this is the third over
They're
of the
taking
morning.
their time to set the field, aren't they?
I mean, this is the fourth over in the morning, so they've gone along at 4 and over so far. Bolt around the wicket, and they've got 3 already this over, and there's still 3 balls to go, as that one is played out to point and there's no run.
So what you're saying is then you need a single off this over.
Yes. And if they get 2, they're ahead of where they need to be to get,
Yep, absolutely.
Mike brings us all back down to earth. He said, morning all, please take the time to hug your family members and think of the 14 injured and 3 killed at midnight here in Philly. There was a mass shooting after an event just outside my girlfriend's apartment. This nightmare never ends in America.
Oh, God.
It's crazy
Just
over
horrible.
there. It is, it's madness.
Guns,
Gods and guns, bad, man.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, that's not unpleasant. You need to vote out all those fucking crazy Republicans so you can get some laws passed. That one is a decent ball by Bolt. He's gone back over the wicket. He's given up going round and bowls it across. Folks, he's not tempted to drive at it. Lets it through to the keeper and there's no run.
He knows he only needs a single.
Yeah. It's not even that, is it? It's just rotating the strike.
No, absolutely. They do look very calm, both of them.
Yeah, they do. That'll change if one of them falls. But and if it's a root, cattle breeding being exposed to pigeons. Defended nicely by Folks, out to once again to point, and there is no run.
I'm Brendan Wavers with us, says morning top draw gorillas. I'm worried that with only 2 to 3 wickets in hand to get these runs, so praying that Folks and Root can stay the course. Tony Bishop says just like Ken. Now that I'm not sure about that. That's probably nothing worse than being pulled out of a Barbie before the money shot. So clearly.
Okay, Bolt in, last ball of the over is defended, back down the track nicely by Folks.
Tony was on my wavelength, I think.
Yeah.
Any more? We're at the end of the over.
Okay, Farong says the stage is set perfectly for Gorilla Hendo, or is it the new Gorilla Zendo? England edging closer to a victory can be achieved before the second new ball, but the spirit of epic collapses is waiting eagerly to make a presence felt.
Well, absolutely.
That would be, Adam Lambert, Leah says, that's who we're trying to think of. And Hendo says, yes, there is another twist with England, always. Misleadingly good stuff.
Good to see you positive as ever.
Nessa's tweets, for no apparent reason, I've got wet feet.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. They're looking at the basically
Looking at the ball.
they were looking at the ball last night. They changed it about 55 overs. Obviously it got soft and it wasn't doing much, but the swing with the older ball was 1.5 degrees on average, and the ball they changed it to is 0.5 of a degree. Jameson is in, and Root just knocks that into the onside, quickly sets off for a single and gets it. He moves on to 86.
Ticking away nicely.
Yeah, very much so. And as long as
he's
he's
never got
there,
a fourth innings century, so that would be good if you got that and got us 10,000 runs and ended up with an average of over 50.
and won the match.
Yeah.
That'll
That
be good
smile
to see.
is back on his face.
Yeah. That must be such a relief, all that burden that's gone away from being captain. You're going to have all those awkward questions, having to front up to the press all the time. Left alone by Folks through to the keeper and no run.
This is what I was saying to Will, when we did the video. He was saying that Paul Root, he feels sorry for Root because he wants to still be captain probably. But I don't agree. I think he's probably going, oh, thank fuck, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's aware. I mean, he's been doing it for what, 4 or 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's aware of the limitations of the side in front of him, and he has to front up and give excuses for it all the time. he might like the guys, and he probably wouldn't take it out on them because he seems such a nice guy, but he's aware of it, and he has to fucking excuse them all the time.
Bit like being a government spokesman.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and he's quite happy to let that go. Let Stokesy have it. I don't think that's left alone through to keeping. There's no run. I don't know. I mean, what do you reckon of Stokes' captain? He still looks quite mentally fragile to me. I don't know if it's going to sit with him.
Well, I was always worried because he did initially say he wasn't really in the right, place. This was
That's
way
what
before.
I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was only about 6 weeks before he was announced, wasn't it? I mean, it's not that long.
It wasn't long before, yeah. And I do, I think it's a really difficult thing to put someone in a position like this, especially when we're so low down in respect.
Yeah, driven nicely by folks. Can't beat mid-off. It's pretty wide and there's no run.
I mean, it does feel
I
a
guess
bit...
you work on the basis that it couldn't get any worse than it was. So, it's got nothing to lose.
Absolutely. And I think, as long as he's all right, it's a good choice, because you do need a bit of a Stokes-like character to say, right, we're doing. But it does feel a bit like all the management team, and it's all jobs for the lads, isn't it? They're all, I think,
jobs for the boys. It's
jobs for the boys, and I think 3 of the management team own a racehorse together, for example.
That's a nice shot by folks. A little bit too short, a bit wide. Forced by folks out towards the third man boundary. That's going to be the first boundary today. That's 4 runs for this over. 5, in fact, because we've got a single off the first. And a nice shot by folks.
Mog's had enough. He's on YouTube. He says, Jesus wept. Can we stop with the Joe Root hagiographies? and Pokey Bumfinger says, captaincy is the only thing on the cricket field Joe Root is no good at.
Well, yeah, he wasn't a great captain. I mean, I like the fact that Stokes backed his bowlers on that first morning when they started getting the wickets. We had 6 slips. It was like, wicket.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you need that aggression, but I do wonder about the whole. I hope everything works out well, but I do wonder how much it's all a bit cosy, isn't it? In the
no, but it's the same bloody worldwide, isn't it? Jameson is in, and that's defended again. Good. No, it was into the ground.
Great stop.
It was a good stop into the ground, and he bounced over Latham, who's at second slip, but it didn't. He plucked it out of the air. There's no runs off that last ball. Root will touch straight. 42 more required. 235 for 5. Go Jez.
There's a certain amount of disbelief. Warren says, holy shit, are England going to win this clusterfuck of a test? Brian 001 says, when England win this match, at which point did New Zealand lose their chance of winning? Was it the stupid run out? Well, I think it was actually the no ball that the Grantham bowled to Stokes. If Stokes,
so it was de Grando, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically, it was de Grando. I mean, that was really dozy to get run out that way, and then to do that. I mean, that's 50 runs from Stokes.
Yeah.
All the time while Root
Mike
was with
says, why is the ball constantly checked to see if it's still in shape? This never happened this often a couple of years ago. Are the balls shit quality now or something? To be fair, it's been going on for a long time.
It has, but the balls have been really contentious this year.
Exactly. Root gets squared up a little bit by Bolt, but he's well on top of it. It goes to Southey, who seems to be... Was that Southey or was that Jameson?
Well, one's a lot taller than the other.
Yeah, it looked like Southey, but the tallness implied Jameson. It's got to be Jameson.
They're almost identical, apart from the fact they look completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a long fucking test. Leave me alone.
It's a bit like the calf and the ankle, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's pulled nicely by Root, but straight down to long leg. Now that's Jameson down there, so it must have been Southey at Gully.
Unless he's very fast runner.
Oh yeah, unless he's a very fast runner.
Paul Marshall reckons England needs to get within 20 before losing a wicket, otherwise they're stuffed.
Stuffed.
Well, he didn't actually say stuffed, I did.
I don't think he's far wrong though, because once a wicket goes, Kiwis' tails will be up. England will be like, temporarily. Funny things happening.
Yeah, you got 3 number 11s.
Yeah, exactly. And Broad will just try and smash it out of the ground. It could go either way with him.
In the first innings, how many did we score, and how many wickets did we lose, and for how many runs? It wasn't very many.
The last 5 wickets put on 41 runs in the first innings, I think.
And we need 41 more to win.
Yeah, perfect.
And this partnership's already put on 90 something, is it?
Is it that many? Christ, is it?
77.
That's pretty good. Bolt in, full, and folks might feel he missed out a bit on that. Played a bit outside it, maybe expecting it to swing a bit less, and ended up half driving it back to the bowler, and there's no run.
Folks keeps fiddling with his bat.
Yeah.
The bottom of his bat.
And his chest guard doesn't, or whatever that guard, it doesn't fit very well, does it? It's just kind of poking out. Bolt, not the last ball of the over, but it's into the hip of folks, who steers it nicely out to Ajaz Patel on the square leg boundary.
Him and Root both play that shot really nicely, don't they?
Most pros
got a lot of opportunity for that at the moment.
But that was my thing, going back to Parkinson. You were saying it doesn't matter that you bowl slow, but this was my thing yesterday. I was saying it does.
Did I say that?
Yeah. Well, no. You said it's okay, but I don't think at this level it is. I think really, really good batsmen have got that little bit extra bit of time, and they'll play him too much off the back foot, and you won't be able to draw them forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he's a good late wicket taker.
Yeah. Bolt in, nicely driven by Root. Lovely shot, but straight at cover.
Because batters' eyes open and go, I can hit this. And
you need to be able to get top orders out too. Jez.
Warren says, Ray, the quality of the balls. Can't they just ask the Duke to turn to the side and cough? Unless it's the Duke of York, of course. Oh, well, you may still be in bed, Warren, but your brain's still very operative this morning. Brian says, if de Grandin recovers before the next test, will he be selected? Is he in line for non-selection due to his 2 glaring stuff-ups? Yeah, well, it'd be very interesting, because there's a couple of others in the frame for selection too, aren't there? It's always interesting in New Zealand. You never quite know who's going to suddenly appear.
Yeah.
And that's up to date on Twitter. There's a lot of discussion going on YouTube, but
is it porn related?
No, none of it is porn related. I'm pleased to say it. So I think Pokey Bonefinger's done a great job, but they're having a good chat amongst themselves. Dara Zizi and Mog and Rick Flair and Crazy Chap and Andrew Cook. Welcome to all of you.
Jameson is going to start his next over. He's bowling at Folks, who clips that sweetly, but can't beat mid-wicket. It's pretty close. Who is that? That's the one person they keep putting a camera on, and I'm not recognising, and I never put a name strap on the bottom.
Is it Will Young?
At mid-wicket.
If that's Will Young,
I don't know. I didn't see. I wasn't looking at the point, so I'm just trying to think of someone you might not know the look of.
I didn't think it was Will Young. He looks completely different under a helmet, if that's Will Young.
Well, then maybe it's not.
Jameson is in. Full. Nice drive by Folks. Beats mid-on. Don't know if it's gone enough to make it to the boundary, but they're going to get 2. Probably going to come back for 3. Oh, no.
Did make the boundary.
Did make the boundary. They're going to get 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And now only 36 required, and still 8 overs after this one before the new ball.
The outfield must be drying out. It does pretty quickly at Lord's, doesn't it?
Yeah, they got that amazing underground system now. And we're due a change at the end of this over. Kat's going to come and join me and you. Kat's going to probably take, well, I imagine, it'll be over by the end of it. If England are still batting, it'll be over by the end of the next half hour, I'd have thought. But
you'd definitely think so, wouldn't you?
You would think so. Jameson in, and Folks pokes it out into the covers, and there's no run.
So we're losing one Australian for another.
Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely being on with you, Messi.
Are we going to get more of you in the next test?
Indeed, Annie, and I look forward to it next test as well. Yeah,
I don't think I'm doing next test, but I'm doing the 3rd.
Excellent. a little break between the second and third, haven't we?
Yeah. Is it Holland or something?
Yeah, 3
then?
ODIs in Holland, and we're taking out a pretty strong side.
Yeah, but pretty different to the Test side.
Yeah, very
David
much so.
Stump knows all. He says their horse is called Elysium Dream. It's only won 3 out of 25 on the flat.
Okay.
And who is it? Who are the three that own it?
That's through to the keeper, by the way, no run.
David
What,
Stump.
is it-
Tell me.
Is that in the England side?
It's I think it's McCullum owns it.
Oh yeah, McCullum he tried setting up a stable, didn't he, after he gave up?
I think it's Mott's McCullum. I don't know who the other one is.
Have we got another Antipodean?
I don't think it's an Antipodean.
Jameson is in, and that's nicely driven by Folks through the covers. They'll get 2. They won't get. Well, they might come back for 3. There's a relay throw. They stick at 2 though. Root's decided he wants to take it on. 34 more required. Now Root requires 13 of those to get to his ton. You'd have thought he'd imagine 13 out of 34, but Folks seems to have started playing a few more shots. He certainly wasn't at the end of last night. He was very contained, letting Root do all the running.
So Annie, you're going to be on tweets, just to let you know that Parrot Badshaw is the next tweeter.
Okay, thank you for keeping us up to date, Matty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he won't.
No. She talks too much, that's the problem.
Left alone outside the off stump, and that is no run. We are going to have a switcheroo. We're going to lose Messi and we're going to gain Cat. Morning, Cat.
Okay,
well, evening, I suppose.
Bye.
Good morning, good evening.
Hello, Kat. How lovely to see you. You look like you're in the forest.
Yes, I'm in the forest, and it's very dark actually behind me because it's 8:30 at night. But wonderful to commentate with you, Annie. I was very excited when I saw you were on.
Yeah.
And you too, Bear.
Yeah. He's boring though, isn't
Thanks,
he?
Kat.
You've got eucalyptus tree behind you, I think.
Yeah, it's very much Australian bush there, for sure.
Okay, well, I've got a couple of tweets I'll catch up on. Warren says, leave it to Bogey Bumfinger to apply the preparation H to the porn bot.
Yes.
Sorry. And Mog says, well, this has been boringly competent and drama-free thus far. Boo! Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you, Mog. We need a bit of drama. Come on, Southie.
Drama would be nice as long as we still get over the line. But
we've had a fair bit of drama already, maybe not. But anyway, Southie is coming in and bowling to Root, who's on 87, and Root's flicking this off his pads beautifully behind square. But there is a fielder there, they just get 1. I think the most fun drama would be if Root somehow doesn't make his century but England win. That'd be very funny.
Oh, you'd find that amusing, would you?
Yeah.
That's
Would
even.
you find that amusing? That'd be hilarious.
I just can't see that happening, and there's no way Root scores less than Folks. And
unless Folks runs him out.
well, then he'd be out.
True,
I kind of wanted to see him get his ton. I'm surprised that's that. He's never scored a 4th innings ton. That'd be a monkey off his back as well. First game not as captain. Look, that was easy. I could steer this side home. Oh, wow.
Southie's steaming in again, and he's over the wicket, and this time Folks jamming down on a ball and defending it back to the keeper, I think. And the score is 244 for 5, needing 33 more to win.
That one kept a bit low, didn't it? Had to jab his back down on that. It was a big ooh from the batsman.
Yeah.
Lucky. Don't know what that hit on the pitch.
Skidded on a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
So the New Zealanders are all looking a little bit nervous. They're all looking cold as well. It is quite cold. There's one slip in place as Southie comes in, and this is flicked away, but all he can do is pick out point, and so there's no run there for Folks.
It's horrible weather here, actually. It's in Devon. It's very grey and mizzly and cold.
Yeah, it's about
Probably
18.
warmer in Australia, isn't it?
It's about 18 degrees in London. It's not that cold. It's quite, jumper weather, but it's okay.
Well, I think it was about 12 degrees here in Melbourne today, and I took the dog for a walk, and it rained the entire time.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, Southie bowls back of a leg and pushes it Folks pushes it into the covers for no
Yeah,
run. I had my raincoat on. I had the dog's coat on. We met no other dogs for the entire walk. It was the sort of day that nobody goes out in.
You had the dog's coat on.
Yeah, I had my coat on. The dog had the dog's coat on. Yeah.
I mean, that,
And
that,
he's
that
not
weather's-
very well behaved on his walk, so he likes it when I let him off the lead, which is when there's no other dogs around, which was today.
Ah,
So Southie's bowling again, and this one is jammed down again. Folks is looking like he's just trying to get through this Southie over. He doesn't look like he has much intent to score. He's 24 from 81.
that's been quite tight bowling. That's another scrambled seam. He's trying everything, isn't he, Southey? What do you think?
Yeah.
The Kiwis must be
And that was an
getting
inside edge onto his pads too, so not totally in control there, folks.
I mean, the Kiwis must be getting a little bit worried, you'd have thought.
Definitely, yeah.
Nearly 30
Yeah.
runs, pretty much trouble-free for England.
So Southie's enjoying bowling to Folks, and Folks trying to push it again through the covers, just picks out extra cover and can't get a run there. But that is the end of Southie's 21st over, I think, and as the score 244 for 5.
Raffles, the gentleman thug, says, "Good morning, gents. I'm very much enjoying our pending victory against the Colonials." Paul Marshall says, "If Root gets out, can we all shout, 'That's all, folks'?" I like that. I really like that.
That's good.
And Farong says, "Will Young..." I can't do this. "Will Young will play in the second test? Question mark. He was pretty ordinary with the bat. Will Young will play." I don't get the play on words there, but yes.
You can imagine, so it was only one test, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He'll get another chance, surely.
I mean,
Particularly if England win.
yeah.
Tony Bishop says, "A cat in a dog's coat, complete disturbance of the natural order."
Yeah, that's very true.
And,
So we are seeing the ball, which is misshapen, is going through the rings and get through the rings quite well. So
Yeah.
I don't think they've changed it, have they?
No,
they're trying their best, aren't
they
they?
are trying their best. That's the second time this morning.
Yeah, not great. But anyway, we have Jamison resuming. New Zealand need 5 wickets and England need 33 or so runs, but there's no score here for Root.
It's very dark, very bowler friendly. Southey's still having a word with the umpire.
He's not happy, is he?
No.
Brian says Root needs 23 off the required 33. He'll need to keep the strike and control, folks.
He doesn't need that
No,
many,
he
does
needs
he?
12 now.
Yeah. That was an
That
old
was
tweet.
2 minutes ago, though. So it's actually.
Well, he just got his maths completely wrong.
Yeah. He needs a maths lesson. Go back and have another look. Get your calculator out.
Oh, that's a shot.
Jamison bowls back of a length. Beautiful drive all the way down the ground for 4 runs, and that was glorious straight drive.
So it's always tricky when you're a little bit behind.
Yeah, I'm slightly behind your feed, and then I think the gorilla feed is behind that. So good luck to anyone watching that one.
Yeah. You're on Fox, I presume.
Yes, Fox must be slightly behind you.
That's just a...
Well, it's got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's got a long way to go. It's got to be
Yeah.
processed by the satellites, and then, all that nonsense. So it will be a little bit. I'm quite impressed that it's so close to what we
It is
have
pretty
here.
close. We could tell that it was just a millisecond difference here.
Have we got
And I
any
think that-
patron? Have we got any patron bets?
Ooh. So this ball is short, and Root is trying to flick it away. A little bit of a late cut, and picks out the fielder behind point. No run.
What do you mean by Patreon bets?
Well, Messi said we should be. There's patron stuff we need to talk about.
Yes, there is Patreon stuff we need to talk about. Maybe I'll do it at the end of the over.
Okay, cool.
So Jamison has 4 wickets so far in this innings. He's got most of them, really.
Yeah, he has. In fact, all bar
The
one.
height.
And he's bowling to Root. Root's on 92. He's trying another late cut and just misses that. I don't know how he missed edging that one. And New Zealand are not very happy that was not a wicket.
Was that an edge though? Did he drop it?
I think has it gone all the way to the boundary?
No, it's
No, he's stopped it.
he stopped it. Yeah,
Oh God, he has dropped it, hasn't he?
I don't
Did
know.
he edge it? I don't know if he edged it or missed it. We'll find out.
There wasn't. I mean, Jameson hadn't started appealing, which implies that he hadn't.
No, which you would think he would have, but we did cut to some New Zealander saying "fuck," so apparently he probably edged it. Anyway, look, if Root even comes close to edging it, it's dangerous. He doesn't come close to edging the next one, he defends it into the onside.
I think the New Zealand bowlers have stepped up a little bit in these last couple of overs. There's definitely a little bit more tension out there.
Well, there is. It's now or never. I mean, the fact that they're all going to the umpire a lot, it sort of implies that they're getting a bit tetchy. You know, they want something to happen, whether it's change a ball or, you know, get off because it's too miserly or whatever.
I think they just want Root off strike, probably.
Yeah, they just want a wicket, don't they? If they get a wicket, it'll all change.
Yeah, that'll get him off strike if he gets out.
You're good at this, Kat.
Emerson's trying again, and this time again, Root's trying to dab it down, but he just finds the gully. Good fielding from New Zealand, keeping the pressure on.
Well, it is the end. Let me tell you about Patreon. We need you guys to help us because, you know, basically we're running out of money, as always. It is always on a knife edge. We give you 1,000 hours of commentary a year out of the goodness of our hearts. And if you patron us, you can get lots of extra content now. So you can get access to the archive. You get a weekly podcast, although this one will be slightly over a week because there's a test match in between. That is a caveat on that, but generally the Bear and the Bishop comes out once a week. You get on the glory roll if you do $10, and you get a mug if you do $10 too. That will come in a little while. You get your Gorilla Cricket mug, and of course you get the Smacksman Hendo's back in full writing effect once a week, giving a little newsletter, a roundup of amusing anecdotes that have happened during the week.
And they are amusing.
They are. It's very good.
Yep.
Anyway, Southey is resuming, and he bowls to Folkes, no run.
So go to patreon.com Gorilla Cricket and become a patron. You'll be helping us carry on forever.
We have a new patron today, is that right?
We've had a few over the last few days. I've got to send out some T-shirts. First day of every test, we're going to give away 3 T-shirts to the first patrons who become patrons. And upgrades don't count, by the way.
I won't bother them.
I'm going to...
Southey's bowling over the wicket, and Folkes is on the pull, and he gets all of it, and it goes all the way out to the onside boundary for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
it has to be $5 or more as well. That's for the T-shirt. I am going to let the first person who's done a first test slide because I hadn't made that caveat. But upgrades don't count. If you're already a patron, you can't sneakily get a T-shirt by just, you know, knocking it up. We appreciate your patronage, but that's cheating.
You just got to feel the love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You do get the love anyway. You get lots of stuff now.
Yeah, you do. I've got my mug.
Oh, well. Do you use it every morning?
Oh God, yeah.
Think of Gorilla.
The tea tastes better from the Gorilla mug.
Absolutely.
This next ball, tight line and length here from Southey, and Folkes is just flicking it into the onside for another dot.
Mog says it's currently 8 degrees in Melbourne, but it allegedly feels like 3. Gosh.
It definitely feels like -3 at least. It is very cold. We're not used to it. We just came from a pretty mild autumn, and we're just smack bang into winter now. So we're not used to this.
No.
So Folkes on 28 is facing up to Southey, and this ball's swinging in, and he turns it around the corner backward a square where the fielder is running in from where the captain had placed him after that boundary, and so they get a single. And Folkes looks like he's got a nappy under his top.
He really does. He's having problems with it, isn't he?
He is. He's got a very big pad there on his ribs.
Well, it makes him happy. That's good for me.
Maybe you'd get one that actually straps on.
Well, that's what it looks like. He hasn't the straps on it. Maybe he doesn't like it tight and it restricts him. Maybe he just doesn't mind it loose. I don't know.
Anyway, the important thing is Root's on strike now.
Yeah.
And
Yes, here he is. On 92, facing up to Southey. There's one slip and he almost plays it on. It's gone all the way down to fine leg. And that's a boundary.
2 + 2 is on my mind. 2 + 2 is on my mind.
And that moves on tonight. So if Root gets a ton and wins the test, he gets man of the match, taking it away from Daryl Mitchell, probably, doesn't he? And whoever bowls
He deserves it. Root definitely deserves it.
Yeah.
If you can,
a second century innings in a match where hardly anyone scored to win a game is definitely man of the match.
And he would literally have won the game, really, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if Jameson clears up or one of the bowlers clears up from here with 20 required, then they get man of the match.
But if he only gets 96, does he still get there? As he flicks this next one off his pads backward a square, and he's going to get just the one run.
Yeah, but he's stolen the strike.
Oh, he's stolen the strike. That's the end of the over. England in 19 more to win, and the score is 258 for 5.
Leah says, so we know a cricket bat cat has a coat for a dog, so the real question is, does she also have tactical armour for the little operator? There's a picture of a dog with armour. Do you?
No, I don't.
No.
Don't really have armour for the dog, no.
Okay.
He has
Colin
a leash and he
Rosenwald
has a collar.
says, spotted Mike Gatting there on camera bearing an ever more disturbing resemblance to Henry VIII.
He's a bull.
Yes. Stomach
Mike Gatting
and
is
beard.
like circular.
Yeah, and Chris Acquire says, I was about to say, can you keep the jollity, laughing and general good humour optimism down? I'm trying to mark A-level maths here, but it's okay now. Messi's not reading tweets.
I was selling encyclopedias in Melbourne years ago in the middle of winter.
Oh, that's right. I remember you said that. Anyway, we've got Jamison. He's coming back in bowling to Root on 97, and Root pushes the ball to mid-on. They're getting a single. Gets him off strike, but he's on 98.
Brian says, much embarrassment. I'll find my glasses and calculator before commenting again on scores. Annie can't highlight the GPL, says Only Harris, if she doesn't know what it's called. Patron bets. All right, okay.
Ah, right. You mean the GPL? Yeah, no, GPL isn't open today.
Yeah. I was getting my Patron and my GPL mixed up, and you had to notice.
Okay. Yeah, no, GPL can't be open today because if I opened it, you'd all guess the 4 scores that England would need to win. You'd probably be correct.
Yeah, a bit too easy,
yeah,
really.
It's a bit too easy.
So, folks, this time lets one go outside off, and he's calling to the dressing room. I think it's probably for a pad strap, if I had to guess.
Patrons.
Lots of MCC members
Yeah,
that still...
With you younger looking ones, apparently you can now buy your way into the MCC.
Yeah,
can't you?
didn't
Pretty
Priti
Patel.
Yeah.
45 grand. Fucking hell.
Oh.
That's why these
Lovely.
people should not be in government.
Yep.
So a very attacking field here for Folks, and he's just pushing a ball, goes to point, or Gully comes around there, and no run. I think they're really eyeing off Folks as the only opportunity to make a breakthrough here.
Yeah, I think it might even be too late now. I mean, it's you got to get 5 for 18.
Yeah.
I think
There's
it
plenty
becomes
more
tricky
batting to
because
come.
well, there's not much batting to come, but you know, all they have to do is swing a bat and edge it over the slips, and you know, one of those.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how long our tail is, let's face it.
Folks is trying to squeeze out this next ball and dribbles into the covers. So he's quite content, I think, to stay on 29. He doesn't want to deny Root the century at all. Very unsporting of him.
He was never going to do that anyway. These two have just got to see it through. You know, I've just realised that Tony, the Bishop, he's doing it from home today. He's going to cut. He's timed it so he's coming on. He's obviously looked at it and thought, well, there'll be just about victory at about midday and beyond. And he's timed himself to do ball by ball in the next slot, which starts in 10 minutes. When it's about when England will be winning.
Oh yeah, I think he'll probably commentate the winning runs.
Yes.
Do you think
As
it's all
folks
about
again-
him? Do you?
I think it's all about him, Tone.
Folks again can't make a breakthrough. He pushes the ball to point. It's his favourite shot, but it is safe. It's along the carpet.
Yes, Tony will be commenting for the England win, and it's the Bishop and the Bear, isn't it? Bear, not Bear and Bishop.
It's the Bear and Bishop. It was my bloody idea. Therefore I come first. And alphabetically, it's BE, not BI, you know.
Yeah.
Jamieson, last ball of his over. He's bowling to Folks. And there are two slips. It's short and he pulls it backward a square and the fielder comes around. Is Folks going to keep the strike? Was that a deliberate intent for Folks to keep the strike? Probably.
No, they ran two.
Oh, did they run two?
Yeah,
How on
yeah.
earth did they run two there?
Yeah, it was into that space, wasn't it? Too far round and too far back for one fielder.
Warren
16
says, I
more to
just
win."
woke up from a snooze to hear about strap-ons. I assume the porn bot has hijacked the audio feed.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Farong says it would be amusing if the second new ball was taken and only used for one ball.
Well, I mean, there's 4 overs left and England needs 16. I don't think they're going to get the new ball.
And that was the intention, wasn't it? I think they've absolutely come out and done exactly what they should be doing.
And
Must
probably
be
and
indeed.
the number one. Well, he's not number one, is he? Derby Shane's ahead of him, but you know, he's just carrying on from last year, isn't he? He scored a ton in the West Indies. He looks like he's going to get a ton in the first test of the summer. Always settles him down for the summer.
He's on 98 and he's on strike and he'll be facing Southey in a minute. Very attacking field again here from New Zealand. Although just the one slip as Root pushes the ball to gully and there isn't a run.
Yeah, they've done a sensible thing. They've got a slip and a gully, but then they've got a ring of 3 on the offside. They've got a point, they've got a cover and a wide mid-off. And they're all close in, stopping the single.
So really New Zealand, their last chance to save this match. It does seem inevitable. The England win is going to come shortly after we finish this spell of commentary, we imagine. As Southey bowls to Root. It's a good delivery. He's really bowling well, but Root is equal to the task. At this time he just defends it into the off.
Yeah, I think just the pitch is just really, really slow. And it's just giving the batsman that much time, especially with the older ball, you know. This ball's knackered. It's only got 4 to go till it's changed.
Yeah. We keep seeing shots of the England dressing room. They could all catch pneumonia for being out there, sitting out there for
They've
too
got
long.
their grey hoodies on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I hope they're warm.
It's not as
This
cold
next
as it
ball
is in
is,
Australia.
Yeah. Next ball is full and Root
Yes.
pushes it off his toes. He's going to get 2 here. And that is his 100. Congratulations.
10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Congratulations, sir. You are a centurion.
And he's got 10,000 runs in 118 Test matches as well.
Yeah, exactly. He needed exactly 100 in this innings to make it to that 10,000 runs. 218 innings, and he becomes the fastest in time-wise to that mark.
Brilliant.
By 3 years and something. It's amazing.
What a fantastic innings as
It was
well.
an absolutely
Really
fantastic
good.
innings. He's at class. Especially yesterday, he was just letting Stokes get on with it, and as soon as Stokes was out, stepped into the plate and did his thing and just started working it around. Immediately picked up his scoring shots and where he was playing the ball, and just carried England forward and didn't let them get stuck. A captain's innings.
What an incredible milestone.
I know.
Yeah,
You
he's
couldn't
the-
write it, could you? Look, that symmetry
Yeah.
is just perfect, isn't it?
Absolutely perfect timing. This next delivery is defended back down the pitch. Yeah, what an incredible batter. Incredible.
And apparently his first ever 100 in a 4th innings. Is that his wife?
Yeah.
so I didn't even know what she looked like.
I met her in a lift once, and she was very sweet, very nice. Very like Joe Root, in fact.
Yeah, when I remember, I felt a bit sorry. I mean, I remember when I was doing a World Cup and England were playing a game. I think it was when we battered the West Indies down at in Southampton at the Aegean.
Anyway, Root just pushed one to mid-on, no run. Continue.
And weirdly, the players were getting in the lift with the public. I mean, I suppose it was the hotel bit at Southampton, so it wasn't the public. But you got to and these lifts are massive. There's about 20 people stuffed in a lift, and Joe Root's in there, and everyone's saying, "Well done." And it just looks a bit.
Southey is bowling to Root, and he flicks a ball down to a wide fine leg, and that's the end of the over. He will retain the strike. England don't need many more to win, only 13.
Chris Acquire says, all I will say about the Gorilla Cricket mug is handle with care. Very good, very good. The bear knows what I mean. Watching cricket's a mug's game.
Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, dear
Terrible
me.
puns in there.
They're awful, aren't they? Sorry, Chris Acquire. Leah says, I remember Gatting losing a lot of weight at one point. Good to see him healthy and approaching perfect spherical. I can't say that word. Sphericality again. Oh, I hate it when people send me words that I have to say that I can't do it. Oh, dear. Warren says Stokes looks eerily like E.T. I managed to miss that. In what way?
I cannot see the similarity.
Did he have his finger up like this? Or?
No idea. Phone home.
No.
He had his hood up for a while. It looked like he was a bit...
Maybe that's
it must be
yeah.
that then.
On the front of the bike at the end. We all remember E.T. We're all that age, aren't we?
Anyway, poor old Trent Bolt comes in to try and clean up here. His left arm over, and this ball's turned around the corner. Backward a square, and they get another run. 12 to win now.
Yes, it's all feeling a bit easy at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think
Even Hendo must feel a little bit like we might win this.
mind you, if an over like that happened to New Zealand happened to England, that was a throw it away.
3 wickets.
3 wickets in an over. 12 runs required.
So Bolt's coming in again. He's bowling to Folkes, and Folkes is again turning the ball around backward a square. That's where all the runs are at the moment. They get another single, turning over the strike.
Now, Folkes might not be Butler, but he looks pretty solid, doesn't he?
Yeah,
In a way that Butler doesn't, I have to say. There's a solid defence there. I guess it's what I'm trying to say.
Batting with Root, and it must be quite relaxing doing that at times.
It must be. But I mean, there was stress when he came out. But I mean, the fact that he's got proper forward defensive. He goes to the ball, uses his feet.
So Bolt bowls back of a length, pushed to mid off, no run.
I mean, every batsman's vulnerable when they come in, but
once
he's got settled here, he doesn't look like he's getting himself out, does he?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played a full shot this morning at all.
Farong says Joe has scored 9 Test centuries since January 2021.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Very impressive.
Well, he did have a lean couple of years.
So Bolt's bowls again to Root, who pushes a ball into the covers on the bounce. No run.
He had that period when he first became captaincy. We were all worried whether it would affect his batting, and it did for a while. I mean, he got plenty of 50s, but he didn't crack on for any big scores. And then last year, it all just clicked around, didn't it? I mean, he got those 2 double tons in Sri Lanka, or double ton in Sri Lanka. Or maybe it was 2 in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Bolt's bowls full, and Root digs this out. Folks diving back into his crease. I think he thought he was in trouble there.
Ryan Barish is worrying that will this test end before his Gorilla Cricket stint? Is he due on next?
You fucking glory hunter, you're coming on to take it.
You're coming on now at the end of this over.
Exactly.
Pretty sure you'll get to call it. because Bolt only has one more to come in this over. And it can't possibly finish on one delivery, and this is wide outside off, and Root swings his bat at it, pokes his bat at it, and it heads out towards a cover boundary. They run a single. Into the over, Bolt's 1 for 73, England 267 for 5, needing 10 more to win. Are we having a change?
We are having a change. The Glory Hunters are coming on.
See you later.
Bye, Glories.
See you, Kat.
you.
Thank you. See you later.
I think I'd rather be known as the man who generously thought it would finish earlier than this and gave Bear the first 2 stints, but there we go. Apparently not.
No.
Goes to show.
You lie. You timed it.
I wrote these. I did the rotors a week ago. How could I possibly have known? If I do have the gift of something, if that's true. Brian, hello, how are you?
Hello, I am well. I'm recovering from calling 8 Aussie Rules games in the sun yesterday, but here I am.
Wow. And there's the magnificent Messers, accompanied over his left ear by his right ear by Dennis Lilly. If you're looking on YouTube, just saw, chaps, the most amazing stat, which I thought was fascinating. I don't know if the team before mentioned it. Going to 100 there brought up Joe Root's 10,000. So with this 100, he has actually got the square root of his total career runs. How about that?
Oh, very good.
Somewhere, if Knuckles listening, he'll be rolling over and purring like a pussycat, I would imagine, at the quality of that statting. Isn't it incredible?
Tony, why did you give us that mental image?
Well, no, you don't want to be left with that. Try and think of cat in a dog coat, or the other way around. Dog in the cat. Whichever was it was, that'll keep you going. Just a reminder. England needed 77 at the start of play. They had 5 wickets down. They had Joe Root. They had Ben, folks. The good news for England fans is that Joe Root is still there. He's made his 100. He's on 103. Ben Folkes is on 32. It is just 10 runs to win. So it's going to end one way or the other fairly soon.
I'm here to bring back the jollity, laughing, and general good humour and optimism that annoys Chris Squire so much while he's marking his maths A-levels.
I can see his point. I mean, if you're focusing on complicated quadratic equations, the last thing you want is Annie and Messers chortling in your ear. As this one is this the replay?
No.
We're calling replays. We're not going to do that.
No, it's only calling replays. I may as well get caught up really quickly on social media since I'm a real glory hunter because this is my only stint of the test. Alan Hodge has 2 stats if you're into that sort of thing. One, Root is exactly the same age as Cook when reaching 10,000 runs, and this is Root's first 4th innings ton. Warren, good morning, Warren. But does Folkes have a blue square in front of his privates? Should I have read that out? Probably not. O'Neill Harris, good morning, O'Neill. Bear, are you saying England shouldn't let Butler open in the test like they did with Roy? Let's see. Brian 001, Root gets his century, well done. England to go 1 up and gain some much needed confidence in the new captain and new coach. See you next test. I'm off to meet Trey Raffles at the club. That's a very Australian thing. I actually won one of those once.
The way you read it, it sounded like he was going to meet a bloke called Trey Raffles, rather than actually go to raffles of meat trays.
Trey Raffles sounds like a guy like a guy who would wear one of those douchey sport coats over a t-shirt.
I think of Singapore when I hear Raffles.
Oh, that's true.
Arguably the most overpriced bar in Singapore, but everyone still wants to go to the Raffles Hotel for their Singapore slings. At least first-time visitors do. Once you've been there a lot, you go, nah, can't be bothered to do that. Right, 10 runs is what is needed. Remember the target, 277. 267 is what England have. Tim Southey is going to bowl right arm over, and it's dabbed wide of slip.
There's 4.
Should go all the way. It does. It's going up the hill towards the Compton stand. It is 4 more. 6 is what is needed now. Beautiful shot. Now I would have, if I was Brendan McCullum, I would have Crawley, Bairstow. I'd just have them watching videos of Joe Root endlessly about how late to play it, where to have your eyes, position your body perfectly. I mean, that was just a sumptuous textbook shot, wasn't it, Messers?
Yeah, the thing is, though, watching someone do it and doing it yourself are very different things.
We're back to our friend the Pornbot. As this one is beautifully off-driven down the ground. That's going to be 4 more. And Joe Root perhaps does want to get there in a hurry. That was a glorious off drive.
I'll pay that one.
Are we going to need to add that to
such
the?
quality.
Are we going to need to add that to the list of Gorilla Cricket, like heard on Gorilla Cricket number 400?
I think not.
dear.
Hopefully our friend Pokey's got the pawn bot under control today. Although whether I'd actually trust controlling a pawn bot to a man called Pokey Bumfinger, I don't know. Root though, he tried the similar shot. It was too close to him. Southey brought that one back into him. He tried to flick it once more. Just 2 runs now. Those 2 consecutive 4 means England are 2 runs away. Ben Stokes has his feet up. He's chewing his gum with a distinct increase in the jaw movement, as he must sense his first game as captain, which is at Lord's, the home of cricket, will be a victory now for England. Just 2 runs is what they need. Joe Root is facing, and this one he's cut, but he's cut straight to point. New Zealand continuing professional to the end, are keeping the pressure on. They're not going to give these runs away. Of course they aren't. They're tough competitors. They've made this, what actually, for a number of flaws for the purist, has been a quite magnificent test match. And it's sad in a way. It's only lasted not 4.5 days, but you cannot for a second argue that it has not gripped, enthralled and generally entertained.
Yes.
Southey in, pulled. This should be it. Is it going to go all the way from Rick? Yes, it is. He punches the air. Folkes runs down, the 2 embrace. The England balcony are up on their feet. McCullum has a win under the new regime. Ben Stokes has a win under the new regime. Joe Root has reached his 10,000 runs and led England home 2 captain's innings in a way. 1 from the current captain, although with a slice of fortune. 1 from the ex-captain. That has seen England home in a terrific run chase just after they predictably wobbled at the top order. But England have won by 5 wickets. We have been royally entertained on Jubilee Sunday. Goodness me. And I just realised Hallelujah was playing in the background, which is rather good fun.
Well done,
Can
Ben.
I say, that from the point of view of someone who doesn't have any skin in the game, it is nice to see you and Bear and other gorillas happy about an England win for once in a while, because they're few and far between. I would say, I noticed, for example, that Mog has just tweeted, I guess is a reasonable start for the McCullum-Stokes regime then.
Yeah, I think you've got to take the learnings as well, though, Messers. You have to look at it and see where the flaws
I think you're fucking
were.
lucky, to be honest.
Yeah.
You've got to look at the de Grandhomme dismissal as an absolute turning point, and you've got to look at the Stokes reprieve as an absolute turning point, because even with a softer ball, the lights on an overcast morning at Lord's, had it been 140 to win, with the length of England's tail, it would have been a quite different situation, I think.
Yeah.
So, I think it will be measured delight. Measured delight is what I would be feeling if I was Brendan McCullum.
Well, I think there are 2 big positives for England coming out of this, though. I think one is the fact that Ben Folkes got an opportunity to show that he is a decent later order batsman, perfect for a wicketkeeper. He kept well, and he certainly did enough today to say, no, you're not putting Bairstow in at number 7 and getting rid of me as keeper. So I thought that was good. I think Potts was a big positive as well. You can say, well, he had the best conditions, which he did, but he couldn't have done any more than he did. So I thought that was a real positive. The other thing is, England actually caught their catches. That's amazing. If they'd done that in the last 24 months, it would have been a lot of very different outcomes.
It certainly would have done. Sorry, I'm joining back in. The other thing is...
delighted you have.
The other thing is that, in the battle of the big gun batsman, I suppose, Kane Williamson didn't get a score, and Root thankfully did, so he gets himself off and running. This is a big fillip for the side as a whole, to feel that your big gun
I think I could calculate it with the score. Maybe Messers could kindly have a look. Players who have come straight out the IPL and into this game with the bat. I think there's only 2, and I think you'll find neither of them have done much.
Bears
Well,
don't-
Kane
said,
was
neither
shit in
of
the
them did a
IPL
lot.
as well.
Neither of them did particularly well in IPL, to be fair. They're better than poor old Kane.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who was playing the IPL.
Well, the other
to be
thing
honest.
is the
Trent
bowlers.
Bolt was, of course.
Well, yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
well, the flip side of that is the bowlers that come at the IPL. It doesn't really do the bowlers much harm, I don't think. I think it's the
I could
opposite.
go along with that.
I think it's actually a relief to come out of the IPL. I know you can get some control in a game if you bowl what you know you can bowl. But they have been bowling 4 overs a day in competitive cricket for 2 months, so they're in the zone, as it were. So I think it is easier for the bowlers than the batsmen. It's a completely different batting game, isn't it?
I would agree.
I agree.
Who do we think? Brian Messers Bear, one at a time. I'll go start with you, Bear. Man of the match.
Has to be Root now. If New Zealand had won, it would either have been Daryl Mitchell or a bowler who had stood up right at the end there and taken 4 wickets in that 60 runs. But as it is, England win. Root's innings got us there, so there's no one else really.
Messers?
I think that's probably right. I think it's worth remembering that Jimmy still took 6 wickets in this match, which we sort of take for granted because he always does it. You know?
He did, but Potts took 6 or 7 in the end. You know, Broad took 4 or 5. Bolt Jameson took 8, I think. You know, it was a bowler's game, wasn't it? Certainly in the first 4 sessions.
I think England might consider giving it to Colin de Grandon, but that would be
slipping him a
unnecessarily
brown
harsh,
envelope under the door. Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Jesus,
Brian?
he'll be popular with his teammates.
Brian, what about you?
I would say probably Root. I mean, it's usually. It is hard, as the two of you have said, because there have been so many good in what was, especially in the first 2 innings, it was a bowler's match. But you know, the fact that Root kind of persevered behind that, and that was very much, you know, a captain century. So I would give it to Root.
I'd go. I wonder if the Queen was watching on Jubilee Sunday. I see they've just released the video of her with the bear, or a bear.
A bear, yeah.
If it was our bear, I very much doubt
It would have gone. It would have been a very different
scenario.
scenario had it been this bear. Yeah, exactly.
As we are speaking on channel whatever it is 7 here, we've got the concert. Adam Lambert's singing with Queen in front of the palace.
He did rather well, I've got to say. He did rather well.
He's been doing it for ages, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he has. He has indeed. Shall I quickly? I mean, there isn't much scorecard to tell you about. No wickets have fallen this morning. England started the day 216 for 5. They needed 77. Joe Root and Ben Foakes have seen England home without really any undue alarm. Root going to not just his 10,000th Test run, but equally his 100. He finished on 115 not out. Ben Foakes with commendable stoicism and solid defence and reliability. 32 off 92, 32 not out for him as well. That saw England home. Bowling, none for 87 for Southey, 1 for 73 for Bolt, 4 for 79 for Kyle Jameson, who really was the larger threat. Poor old Colin de Grandon, as we've been saying, none for 3 before his heel stroke calf, or whatever Dr. Annie Chave decided the part of anatomy was that. But remind me if I ever get a groin strain, I'm not going to go and see Dr. Annie Chave, because God knows what bit will get bandaged. Daryl Mitchell didn't bowl. Well, he did. He bowled 1 ball to rescue Colin de Grandon's over, and number 22 for Patel. England once more have won by 5 wickets. Brian, who else do we have to just
say goodbye to?
Say thank you and goodbye to.
We got lots of people, so I'm going to run through this. I'm going to run through this really quickly. Mrs. Luigi Magpie saying, "Remember the eyeball, please, Tony Bishop."
It wasn't an eyeball. My old music teacher, who was the choir master when I sang at Coventry Cathedral and when I sang at the Royal Festival Hall, was a complete lunatic. His name, I won't give you his name. His initials were RW. He may still be alive. He likely is not. I suspect some of his pastimes might have been a bit dubious, but if he didn't like anything he heard, he would rip his shoe off, yell it. I remember him at one poor particular, bass singer catching a shoe in the eye because he used to take his shoe off and yell "fuck off" at the top of his voice and hit people with his shoe from standing behind his well, not lectern, what do they call it, bandmaster's conductor's lectern, that's it. And he used to chuck his shoes at people if he was upset with what he heard. So maybe the eyeball context was somebody got hit in the eyeball with one of his shoes. Maybe that was the story, Mrs. M.
Tony, that's the most British thing I think I've ever heard.
What? Shouting "fuck off" and yelling your shoes at a choir?
Well, no, you're just like my old choir master. I'm just like, what? Paul Marshall predicted earlier if Root gets a ton and another gets a 50, we would win. Am I psychic? Sure. Mog saying I did a jingle for Fat Gat and compared him to a globe. Warren, Trey Raffles first class West Indian middle order batter. There was somebody called Raffles the Gentleman Thug saying, as an FYI, my first name is not Trey. Christ the Choir, what a pleasure it is to have Messi Jez back on comms, if only for a couple of overs.
Oh, I missed that.
Mog, I guess this is a reasonable start to the McCollum-Stokes regime. Josie Oak, England win a test? What? Bugger me. Forgotten what it's like.
And you can't say doomed.
You can't say doomed.
No.
Not this time.
Not this time. O'Neill Harris, and this is why Root bats at 4. He is the best batter. He bats where he likes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Christ the Choir, Stokes to Root. What's all the fuss about? This captaincy thing is really simple. All it needs is you to get a 4th inning ton. Lennox Leah. Hello, Leah. I hope Baz and Stokes hang this flag in the dressing room, and it's the Jolly Roger. Madden Mohem Sharma, good morning, Gorilla Cricket. I think 3 wickets lost at 2:51 and Broad's over was the turning point. My man of the match is Stuart Broad. Congratulations, England. They needed and deserved it. Paul Marshall, well batted Root, but don't forget folks who played the perfect support role. Warren, going to see how practical the Stokey-Cullum axis is with the selection of the next test. Certainly should be some changes, but will there? I'll let you talk about that later. Leia, England wrapping it up before pornbots could find the chat.
Yep. Thank God. We have our stoic mods in there, though. Meds.
Oh, the stoic meds.
That's what I need.
And I want to. It's not lost on me that the person that ended the test before that happened, his name was Root. Now, if you're Australian, that means something. If you're English, I don't think it does.
I think it does.
Farong, Soda Granholm could be the Tata game changer of the match. Hombre Nuevo, thanks as always, Gorillas, see you on the 10th. And Leia saying, I will be very disappointed if Choirmeister was not named Nikita. Thanks to everybody who joined us on YouTube. There's too many for us to go in. I'm sure the bear wants to go home and all that other stuff.
Things to do, yeah.
I have one question of both Tony and the bear. Your England selectors, they're very English. So they're English selectors. They have to make decisions in relation to Ollie Pope and Johnny Bairstow. What do you do with them?
I'd like to give Harry Brook a go. Pot's been such a success, and that's if you're gonna play people in form. I'd like to see Harry Brook have a spot. The problem is, that person on Twitter said, you let Root bat where he wants to bat, and I agree with that. So he bats at 4, so you've got to find a 3. I'd give Ollie Pope I think everyone's got to have this test series. The only one is Bairstow for Brook. If Brook bats at 5 for his county, which apparently he does, then he should bat 5 in this test side, which means it's between him and Bairstow.
I'd go along with that. I'd be in 100% agreement, which doesn't always happen, Bear. But I think it's too early to say the Pope experiment has been a failure, although the indications are that it will be. But in the absence of other alternatives, unless I bought in someone from the county game who's currently making runs for fun, Sam Robson, I would keep Pope for another go, but I think I would let Harry Brook have a run for the same reason. He's just making tons of runs, and I'm not sure Bairstow is Bairstow's always got a big and exciting innings, but we just saw the old Bairstow in this test. Not in the field, he was magnificent in the field, remember? What was it? Took 4 catches in the first innings.
Yeah,
and he was quite superb in the field. And no one is doubting his commitment to the cause, and but that shot that he got out to in the second innings, it was just like winding back the clock to the dark days of the Johnny Bairstow gate, and I think he needs a little bit of time to get that corrected again, and I would bring Brook in his stead.
I think they'll probably go with Bairstow for the next test, but if he does the same thing again, I think Brook will go in the third. I just imagine that's how it'll go.
But the other philosophy is you just don't change your winning team.
Yes.
You've just won a first test match in 18. You've won it at home. You've won it at Lords. It was an absolute cracker of a test match. They will be sky high and elated. Maybe just status quo. Keep things as they are.
2 notes really quickly before we go. I want to make sure that this is conveyed correctly. I mentioned that Leia had said that they would be hanging, Baz and Stokes would be hanging this flag in the dressing room, and I said it was the Jolly Roger. There was some text. The beatings will continue until morale improves. So I want to make sure that got conveyed. The other thing is I will be celebrating the Jubilee by seeking out some rhubarb scones a little bit later from my local English place.
Yeah, enjoy that.
Good idea. Should we final request before we go? We had a new patron this morning, didn't we, Messrs? Have we said thank you to that
we
kind
did
individual?
Indeed. His name was Neil Culshaw, so thank you very much, Neil.
Welcome to the family, Neil.
Appreciate your support.
We're delighted.
And we hope that many others will join you.
Well, that was the final thought. I'm sure Bear's mentioned it. I'm sure we all have. If you could possibly help support the show, keep us on air, you get some fantastic content. We will be recording our wrap-up of this test in the Bishop and Bear and Bishop pub. I think we're going to be doing that with Hendo. We've got some other exciting guests lined up on that. We are happy Hendo. We've got the weekly Smaximum Working Title newsletter, which is always fun and interesting. You get access to the archive with over 10,000 jingles and Lord knows what else. Previous match commentaries. You get merchandise. You can have your name rolling across the screen, and a bunch of other things. So we're really doing our best to give those who are kind enough to support us some things to really say thank you with. If you can help us out, we'd be eternally grateful.
Indeed.
Sorry, I could leave it over to you, Bear.
It's time to go.
It is.
We'll be back on Friday morning.
Just
at
before
10
we
to 11.
do, I've got to thank you too. The Bear has been in every day to make sure we get on air, and he just keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. But the other person who does an awful lot of work behind the scenes these days is Tony Bishop, who creates the rosters, gets really stressed when the weather forecast is going to
absolutely
up, and tries to wrangle those of us who are on the roster into rejigging our times just to be able to keep it going. And I know there's a lot of work and stress involved in that as well. So I just want to say thank you both for all that you've put in, because it gives us the fun of being on air with you.
And I want to recognize Toady, because I've had to have a lot of schedule changes in my time as a gorilla, and he has handled it with grace. So thank you for putting up with my bullshit.
You're welcome.
Right, we really do have to go.
Yeah,
we do. Bear's got a party to go to.
Bye-bye.
No way. See you all on Friday at 10 to 11. Bye.
See you.
Take care all.
Bye.
Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Kevin, Gary like cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact.